It's on Highway 74. And if I'm going too fast, just let me know. This is the project site plan with the 300 units. It also has 470 parking spaces provided. It has no small area plan, and it's in the Crooked Creek watershed. The future land use for the site, suburban office center, so it's the future land use plan is supporting offices here. The future land use plan was done in 2016, and staff does think that this use is outdated, and doesn't believe that office center would be the highest and best use in this location. So staff recommends approving CZ 250201 for the conditional zoning to conditionally zoning mixed use. Although it's not in our small area plan, but the mix of commercial and residential aligns with the nearby adopted small area plan for Highway 74. It includes the greenway portions in the greenway master plan, and it's consistent with the established development pattern along Highway 74. And then the applicant has the presentation as well, if you'd like to see that, if you have any questions.
And I have some, were there any conditions that you had requested of them as part of during this process?
Right, yes, there was, there's quite a few conditions. The main condition, I think that was about the commercial component and timelines, and the developer does not do commercial. So they didn't want to add a commercial timeline component to the site.
But there is potentially a commercial component?
Yes, there is a commercial component as part of the conditional zoning, which is in the red, it's 6,000 square feet. But they didn't add a timeline.
So when we say no
It could
time.
be a vacant parcel for as long.
Okay, because I know with like one of our other recent developments they were going to build as prior to getting their
Did not agree
certificates.
to
Okay.
a timeline.
Okay.
But other developments in the past, for like other conditional zonings that had a mixed use component, did agree to timelines.
Okay. And yeah, I'll leave it to them.
The applicant's presentations in here. Yeah.
So, can we talk about the sewer situation over there? Is there sewer available currently for a project this size?
So I will defer to the developer to answer those sewer questions. But I think we checked today, it said the Crooked Creek watershed was at 87% capacity, but I don't know the timeline on.
According to the Board of Commissioners' most recent report from their staff, the Crooked Creek capacity is at 87.9%.
And does that include the allocation that we were going to get for the Crooked Creek area? I know that there was some allocations that were going to be made at some point. Do you know if it includes those additional allocations?
I do not, no, sir.
Okay.
Forgive me.
All right.
I can't find the developer's presentation. I gotta pull that up. Okay.
It's already pulled up.
Oh, it's already pulled up. I see. Thank you. I appreciate it. Any other questions for me okay, so the developer's here and I'll let them speak.
Hi, good evening. I'm Justin Houston with Mill Creek. So this is the 7th time publicly that this site has been presented. Tonight and the 6 other times, 0 people have shown up to talk against this project. Nobody showed up to our public meeting. Nobody showed up to planning, which we did get unanimous approval from planning board about 6 months ago. So with all that said, I know what time it is. We would like to formally withdraw our rezoning of the project.
All right.
Okay. Melanie?
We would also, excuse me, we would also like to request that the annexation also be reversed.
So at this point, I would just ask that someone make a motion to suspend the rules and make a motion to reconsider the annexation vote.
Second.
Yeah.
How's the council vote? Wait, question.
The motion to suspend the rules, that was unanimous? Was that voted on?
Yes.
Yes, okay. And then a motion to reconsider the annexation vote so that the parcel is not in the town of Stallings.
I would move that we reconsider the annexation vote for parcel number 07105-005A. So that it's not in the town.
Right?
Is there a
Annex
second?
it.
How's the council, or all in favor?
Aye.
That's unanimous, so you are
No, we still have to,
not in Stallings anymore.
wait, we still have to do the actual de-annexation, right?
We just did that. We just need to close the public hearing.
Oh, thank you. Closing the public hearing again.
That was just the reconsidering. No, flip
All right. Thank you. Number 6 on the agenda, item 6, cameras, crime prevention, crime program additions, and the Blair Mill cameras.
Everyone. All right. If you recall, in 2024, we launched our crime program, which stands for Crime Reduction Investigative Monitoring Equipment. We picked 5 strategic locations around town and installed 12 cameras to help us prevent crime and solve crime. So these are just some of the topics we'll hit here tonight as we talk about. What we'd like to do tonight is add to our current 5 sites that were launched in '24. And just a little background, same thing I presented back then. We had a lot of HOAs, businesses saying, hey, we'd love to have a camera in our location. If you can assist, that'd be great. Data. We had, in between 20 and 24, we had 48 stolen cars in the town of Stallings. 7 out of 10 crimes involve a vehicle. And in 2023, for those that remember, we had a Wells Fargo, we had a bank robbery, we had a number of armed robberies, a series of gate stations, 7-Eleven got robbed twice, Food Lion and Henry Bridge got robbed, and the Harris Teeter got robbed. And that kind of really pushed gave us the momentum to push forward with this program. And then a very interesting fact, a 2020 study found that the average American is on camera over 200 times in a week due to widespread security camera use. Now, some of our successes with these, we have, like I said, we have 5 locations, 12 cameras. Using these cameras, we identified a vehicle and the driver in a suspected homicide case that we had. Identified vehicles in flee to eludes, multiple break-ins to either businesses, houses, or other cars, and have located a number of stolen cars and 1 stolen trailer. So in that short year, we've had 6 really good successes leading to increased crime solvability. So what we'd like to do now is we would like to expand that program. 6 additional sites, 12 cameras, and just some of these locations I thought would be important to throw out there. Matthews Indian Trail Road at Smith Farm Road, partnering with Atlantic Pinstriping. The 7-Eleven on Idlewild, which is a key location for the police department. Pleasant Plains Road at the church, Pleasant Plains Baptist. Old Monroe at Sweetbriar, Old Monroe at Friendship, and Ewan Lane at Stallings Commerce.
I didn't realize that Stallings went down that far to Atlantic Pinstriping.
Well, it's just outside our jurisdiction, but because we're doing a public-private partnership, they've agreed to put a pole on their property. And yeah, and that's really that intersection there at Atlantic Pinstripe is a really strategic location for people entering and exiting the town. So the cost for 10 years, and this is a 10-year cost, is $81,627. Verkada, who is our camera contractor or camera company, has given us the option of a 5-year contract to pay that $81,000. And for those that were on the council last year, you might recall, we were approved in the capital budget for $13,000 a year over the next 5 years to expand our camera locations by 1 location per year. Well, due to inflation and installation costs, that price jumped up significantly, almost it about doubled. So as we went back and talked to the vendor, they agreed to do this 5-year contract at a much reduced cost. And in addition, so we have $13,000 budgeted. It'll be $16,326 a year. This year we can use, we were awarded a safety grant from the League of Municipalities for $5,000. So we can use those funds to cover the cost this year. And then during the budget process, if approved, we'd have to ask for an expansion to that budget line of about $3,100. But I was talking to the town manager, we will continue to apply for that safety grant every year to see if we get awarded that money, and if so, we can use that instead of town funds. So tonight, I'd like to ask the council to allow the town manager to approve the contract with Verkada and Appalachian Network Services in the amount of $81,627. If you have any questions, I will take those questions.
This is separate from the Parks and Rec.
Yes, sir, it is.
Same.
Same company.
Okay.
So, yeah, the Verkada is in the park, and then we also are using those cameras throughout town.
All right.
How are those cameras used? Is it proactively, reactively? Is it to say, hey, we've got something going on, we're going to look at it, or are they monitored
It's both.
regularly?
They're not live monitored, but they can be live monitored. So if we know we have an issue somewhere, that would require someone to sit in the station and watch those cameras, which just really isn't practical unless we have a significant event we know that's going to occur to do that. But it's reactively. So we had an incident come up, an officer can go in and look at the cameras and put in a vehicle description, and the camera can search for that vehicle description. Now, that data it's stored for 30 days and it's purged off. So it's not something where we've got this massive database that we're looking back years and years. In most situations, if someone's not reported a crime within in the first 14 days, they're not going to report it. But the system purges everything out for 30 days.
Like, I've got a Ring doorbell camera. The quality's pretty bad, but I can see it's an Amazon delivery. Are you able to like zoom in and see like a license plate on this kind of
Yes,
video?
sir. They can give license plates up to 87 miles an hour, if I recall, coming through the camera that we can read the license.
That's good. I drive faster, so I'm okay.
Well, it's
Go
not a-
faster, you'll go back to the future.
Yes, sir.
Chief, do officers in the field have access to the video in real time?
At this point, no, because we're just kind of getting everybody, the detectives are using it and getting used to it, but once we get everything put together, then everyone in the department will have access to it. That's part of the quick solvability. So a patrol officer at 2 in the morning can go in and look at something instead of waiting for a detective to come in at 9 o'clock. They can look and see, hey, I've got suspect 1 was here, suspect 2 is here. Either we're going to solve it right now, or we'll wait for the detectives to come in the morning and solve it.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions?
One more, I guess, just in relation to the grant from the League of Municipalities. When that comes up every year, is that, for lack of a better term, in competition against any other city or town across the state?
Yes, yeah. And I won't say it's an easy grant to get, but we've gotten it twice now in the last 2.5 years. One was to help the park put cameras up on near the pickleball courts, just due to some graffiti issues. So we got the money there, which offset cost of the camera. But hopefully, we can continue to get that grant. Yeah.
Thank you.
If legal's okay with this, I would like to listen to Eunice's piece, since it's in the same budget item, until Stephen can get back, unless he's back now. Well, yes, he is, never mind. Do we have a motion on the floor from council?
Move to approve the request. Amount of $81,627.
we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, everyone.
Eunice, you're up. Miss Donnelly.
Thank you. Miss Donnelly, it's still getting used to. Jenna, it's like 4 years coming, but, can you believe that I've been married for 4 years?
No,
Me neither. I'm like, what in the world happened?
you got old.
I haven't hit 30 yet, so I'm pretty good. When that happens, I still got some time. Okay, you guys. So this,
Wait a minute, do you consider 30 to be old?
I'm not 30 yet, so I'm just, it's not old, older than I am now.
Oh, okay. Right.
The mic was away when I said that, so no proof. But I am piggybacking off of Chief's camera additions. I just want to make it very clear, though, we do not have the money currently in the budget to do this. So at the end of this, the request would be for a budget amendment as well as the contract to move forward. So just want to clarify that. And for the 2 new council members, and also for everybody as a little bit of a refresh, because I know there's been some time that's passed since we brought this up. This was a council request to kind of get some numbers for some cameras at Blair Mill Park, for us to come back, present that to you guys, and decide how we want to move forward. So with that being said, over the past few months, as you guys know, there's been some vandalism at Blair Mill Park. Of course, that comes with the amenities that were added. So as y'all see, the really nice gateway signage that's across from Vickery, the new park benches that got put up, some new golf course signage out there for the disc golf. It just got tagged with graffiti, as well as some car break-ins. Chief can kind of attest to that a little bit more than I can. However, we currently do not have any cameras at Blair Mill Park currently. So that would really just enhance the area with this addition. So the proposal is to go with Verkada, what we currently have in Stallings Municipal Park. While this kind of took a while, is I just wanted to make sure that the cameras here were installed, we love the quality of work, and that I could come back confidently and say, yep, I really want to keep this moving forward. Like I said, as soon as we put the cameras up, nothing bad has happened, yay! But they really are wonderful. We do not have access to what the police does, but we have everything in the park view. Our maintenance team has access, I have access. To your point, council member, we also do watch it live sometimes in the back when our maintenance crew is doing some projects. They just keep it up on the screen. So it's been a really wonderful tool for us at the department. So what I'm proposing tonight is 2 cameras installed on the top side of Blair Mill Park. I call it the top side. That is the area across from Vickery. So what we'd like to do is put up, there's no power, so it would be 2 12-foot poles. They would have solar panels on them. They're about 1.5 by 1.5, visibly appealing. The reason we haven't brought solar panels before is Chief can kind of attest, they were pretty massive. So solar, I don't think was an ideal option. However, with new technology, we think it could really work well out there. We would have 1 camera pointing towards the parking lot so we could get license tags in and out of that area, as well as pointed to the open field. There's really no other amenities right now. I don't think there's a good service to point it really in the woods. If you guys want to go that direction, I can really start pulling some numbers and we could start spending some money. However, I do believe this probably serves us best currently. And the bottom side of Blair Mill Park, I'll refer that as the restroom area. What we're going to do is use the power from the restroom and attach cameras to that building. So it'll be 3 almost bullet cameras pointed at the playground, the open field, as well as the parking lot. So we're capturing as much area as possible. Again, they will be able to read license plates for people that come in there. So we did our due diligence, got the 3 quotes, landed on the lowest responsive bidder. This would be in collaboration, this same Appalachian Network service that Chief just proposed to you guys. The cost of this project would be a little over $32,000. I recommend doing a 10% contingency on that just because we've never done the solar panels before. You never know what happens. And I'd hate for the project to be a little delayed, just kind of over a little chunk of change. So it's a little over $3,000 with that 10%. So total project cost is $35,662. So we're recommending to approve the budget amendment for $36,000 from the general fund to cover the project. And I am happy to answer any questions that you guys have. I know this was something that y'all asked, and I just wanted to come back with some numbers to get the ball rolling. Yes.
How much did the damage to Blair Mill cost us?
It was pretty expensive. I believe we approved of, I think it was $50,000 to get that sign, or, yeah, give or take that, that's probably a good number. We had to do a full sign replacement because of that graffiti.
If I may, I think we see more, more vandalism issues that cameras can help prevent as a proactive crime-fighting measure in Stallings Municipal Park. And the reason why is just because it's more activated, right? Meaning there's playgrounds, there's more walking trails, there's just more things for people to do. There's gonna be more people, and when you have more people, it increases the likelihood of things like that. Mill Park is the next step, right, in one of the town's park evolution, right? We've got a new playground that's 4 or 5 years old. There's a host of new plans. You've got the greenway that's activated by there. And so we do think that we'll see more and more vandalism issues, not because Stalling isn't safe, but because there's just more people, and with more people and more activation becomes the likelihood of things happening.
Yes, sir.
Is the entrance to the greenway that's at Stevens Mill, would it be covered under the camera purview or the view?
I believe that falls under the police department, already has a camera.
3 cameras there.
Okay.
Over the crosswalk, and we have another 2 bullet cameras.
Okay,
See traffic, but also see
got you.
the crosswalk.
I know I've been, had to dodge golf carts going down the greenway. I know they're not supposed to be there, but, you know, just,
Doesn't shoot down the greenway,
Okay.
just on the roadway
Right.
and the entry.
Yeah, great question.
Eunice, has there been any consideration of, you know, like if you're in a convenience store to be like the, you know, not that we would put up the smile you're on camera sign, but something to say like this area is under video surveillance of anything like that?
We definitely could do that.
Yeah.
For sure. I think that would be a very proactive approach. And I will say these cameras, I don't know if y'all have happened to walk in the park lately since they've been installed. They're not an eyesore, but you can definitely tell that there is a camera now on the poles, which helps.
Have you seen anyone try to mess with the poles or the cameras since we've installed?
No, they're pretty high up. It would take a real act, I would say, for someone to go up there and vandalize them. We've been very blessed that that has not happened.
And you said it's 12 feet up?
Yes, sir, that would be for the solar panel pole.
Okay.
Yeah. So that would be the first time we've done that. So it'd be something new.
And does this offer the same 30-day retention of the video as the other one does?
Yep,
Okay.
yes, sir. And this would be throughout the same system. So the police department automatically gets access to these cameras as well, which is really wonderful, especially over the weekends when full-time park staff is not normally here. They're able to pull that footage way faster than what we've had in the past.
I just want to ask Jesse if, are you okay? We have this money in there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And right now, we're doing an appropriation of fund balance, but, you know, when the end of the year comes, it may be that we didn't fund balance, we may end up being
And I believe the budget amendment is next, if you guys wanted to see that as well.
I move approval of amended budget ordinance 9 and the allowing for an amount up to 36,000. Is that correct?
Yes, and to approve the contract with Appalachian Network Services.
And for the contract with Appalachian Services.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous.
All right. Thank you, council.
Next up, Alex, council mid-year priorities.
All right, good evening, everyone. As you all know, each year, the town council has an annual retreat, and as part of that, the town council sets a group of big picture strategic priorities. And we take that big picture priorities and we create an action plan, right? So we take the big ideas and then we turn those into actionable steps. And as part of that process, what we like to do is, obviously, as we move forward, there's a whole list of different things. It's several pages long. I like to bring it to the board so y'all can check progress, hold our staff accountable, and hold yourselves and hold each other accountable on the progress that we're making together. So I'm going to go through this. I'm not going to hit every list. in every measure. But I hope that if something comes up that we need to talk about, please interrupt me, please ask questions, and I'll do the same if there's something I want to flag and ask any direction or for conversation. Make sense? Okay. All right, so first things first, the first priority was to focus on mid-range financial planning. So this came up in a variety of contexts, and really, the board was really focused on this, especially as we saw our budget deficit projections combined with the challenges of a property tax base reevaluation. So there are several things created to this. Went through, created a priority setting process, a budget was approved, obviously. We continued updating on an annual basis, the 5-year financial plan and capital improvement plan. In addition, we developed a pretty in-depth property reevaluation strategy. The board saw a number of different options. Our finance team, our staff worked hard. Again, want to recognize Ms. Williams for her work, and so we're successful. One of the fourth action item, I think, is the greatest challenge that I see right here, and that's just simply because of our finance department's capacity. We've had the conversation of the past couple of years. We've looked at the numbers, and we see that our finance department isn't where it needs to be, not because of the quality of the staff. We've got a quality, we just needed to add more qualified folks in order to handle the workload. As the town grew around us, all of our departments grew, our budgets grew, but our finance staff did not. We recognized that, and so the board, and I'm very grateful for your support, we've added a new staff member position, and we've also added a new software. So hopefully that'll increase our capacity, because right now on a finance side, we're really just treading water. My fault as town manager not growing that department quickly enough. I accept responsibility for that, but I feel like we've got a plan to kind of move that forward. So good news, we've hired a new finance officer, Miss Jane. She's fantastic, has years and years of experience. So she started with the new year, and we're going through the training process. And really, once we get her trained up and going, we'll turn and look for software. But really, I think our finance department, because it is so small, it's a vicious cycle between budget and then audit, and then the day-to-day activities, which is super intense. I think here I would ask for your permission to pause looking at creating those 2-year budgets until we get that finance officer capacity, our finance department capacity up and online with the resources. And I appreciate your support in addressing those needs. All right, so the next thing is we want to do a lot of things to make sure, all right, what are we doing with the money we've got? We want to make sure we're being prudent with the money we've got. So the first thing we wanted to do was to do and implement a pay study for staff, because if you're paying staff too little, you lose staff, and the cost of turnover is greater than the cost of just paying market rate to the staff you already have. There's institutional knowledge, a lot of benefits to just keeping good staff. But at the same time, you don't want to pay staff 200% above the market level, right? That's a waste of taxpayers' funds. So it's a bit of a Goldilocks issue. How do you make sure that this pay for our staff is competitive and just right? Meaning, how do we make sure that the investment in our largest expenditure reoccurring, our labor, our town staff, our biggest resource, is most efficient? So the way we do that is we do a pay study every so often. We did that. We've implemented that. We're on track to implement a functional performance pay policy, and we are moving forward with that. And again, we followed the adopted pay policy for fiscal year 25-26. And then there was a lot of desire to communicate around the budget, make sure we're being transparent and giving the residents an opportunity to weigh in. So there were several ways we did that. We had a all committees meeting, if you'll recall, where the town council met with all the different committee members and went over the various issues with the budget, the long-term projections. So we did that, held a public hearing where any residents can provide input, and we also published the budget process to the public. Next up, the next priority was pursue sewer alternatives. We see the projections with sewer capacity in Union County, And the board, a lot of their priorities are economic development, right, growing the tax base, and really community building. So the first thing we looked at was the status of the sewer situation. We did a presentation to the board on that. Thank you for Mr. Parker for his work there. We looked into with Central Ina if there was an opportunity to partner there. And also, and this is a decision point, when there was a conversations about a development that hadn't submitted an application yet, the Crestwinds development. I know there was a lot of public concern about that project, even though it hadn't been yet submitted. The board weighed in and said, hey, we don't want to do any sort of study on the sewer plant, the sewer package plants until we get that project in. And the way the board made the motion, it stopped all our work towards evaluating package plants, not just there, but everywhere. And so I wanted to kind of revisit that because there was some gray area. And you can see one of the action items there is for us to fund and commission an independent third-party study that would evaluate the pros and cons of package plant, because we had a sewer study done, and what it found is that it's not feasible to hook up to Charlotte Water. It's not feasible to start our own sewer system, right? And so there's nothing there, sewer capacity, when certain areas of town run out. And so what y'all are gonna see is developers bringing to you package plants. And so the board at the time said, hey, we're not technology experts on sewer package plants, right? You're not supposed to be. How do we talk to the experts and see what it is? Because historically, package plants have had issues. They've been smelly, there's been issues with cost of maintenance, a whole host of things that are well documented. Now, the new ones, the developers promise that they're great, there are no issues, they run great. But once you agree to put one in, that's it, right? There's typically no take backs. So I wanted to kind of clarify, does the board want us to use the money that's been put in the budget to do an independent third-party analysis to understand the pros and cons before the package plant? And before you answer that, Kevin and I actually took the liberty to talk with some folks in the industry. And Mr. Parker, do you mind coming up and sharing what we learned? So, any questions so far? You with me on the same page? Okay.
Evening, council. Hopefully everybody had good holidays. Yeah, last Friday, Alex and I, we met with a representative of Traverse City, Michigan, where they have a much larger scale than we would ever see, but they have an MBR wastewater treatment facility, which stands for membrane bioreactor filtration. And that's exactly what the development team from the Crestwinds development, it's what they were proposing. And so after looking into it a little bit, just wanted to spend a hour picking their brain on some of the pros and cons, what they see, and just get those high-level questions answered for us. You know, does it reduce the smell? And when it comes to the sewage smell, they have very intricate carbon filtration systems that does reduce the sewage smell. However, there is still an ongoing earthy organic smell. That's not sewage, but it's just if you've ever been around exposed organic material, it's kind of that just earthy smell.
Manure?
Not necessarily manure.
Fertilizer?
No, I wouldn't even say fertilizer. Have you ever been around a rotting tree or dug down just the decaying material that's not necessarily?
Been out in the country in the springtime in North Carolina.
Yeah,
Fertilizer.
I would describe it, if you've ever been to Savannah, Georgia, just the swampy smell that's down there in Georgia. That's the best way I would describe it. So not sewage, but
Swampy.
swampy, yeah, exactly. It is expensive, very expensive to maintain. The electrical costs associated with it, because it's all pump and mechanical driven. So the energy costs associated with these MBR facilities are high. So you would expect to see that anywhere that these are implemented. I don't know, apartment complexes come to my mind that the rent would be much higher in order to implement these MBR facilities. But one positive note of these is the effluent coming out of them is perfect. He says, and I'm assuming Traverse City has much stricter traceable, detectable pollutants than we do, because they're discharging directly into lakes up there. And they come off as completely non-detectable, this effluent. So the product is great. However, some of the larger scale issues that we're concerned about doesn't seem to be addressed with this MVR facility. Granted, the technology's great. This gentleman said that there isn't any other technology like this out there when it comes to treating the wastewater. However, the high energy cost, issues with maintenance, these need to be maintained. He mentioned that they do weekly cleanings, and then they do super deep cleanings twice a year, weekly cleanings, and then very comprehensive deep cleanings twice a year, where they're shutting down their demand for half of their plant, cleaning it, then doing the other side.
Is this the city doing this or a large?
It is the city.
Okay.
So obviously, it would be much larger scale than anything that we would see, but I still think the issues are applicable. But happy to answer any questions, but kind of just wanted to run through those high-level points that from our discussion, and still working on coordinating with some other municipalities as well. There's the county of Atlanta, Georgia, whose name is escaping me. They implemented an MBR facility as well.
Fulton?
So, I'm sorry?
Fulton?
Yes, thank you. Yes, I was thinking Furman for whatever reason, but yes, they've implemented an MBR facility, so still working on coordinating with them, but just some general information that we found with some research.
Are there any or many successful implementations that are not municipal owned, that are privately owned?
Well,
I mean, that's essentially what's going to happen. We're not a sewer, whatever.
and I'm glad you mentioned that, because this gentleman from Traverse City, he mentioned one example of a bad scenario where a developer came in, started implementing one of these MBR facilities, went under halfway through, and now there's ongoing maintenance issues. It wasn't installed properly. So to answer your question, yes, there have been instances of this. I haven't found a good example of a smaller package plant yet.
You mean a good, successful
Correct.
example?
Correct.
See, that's the problem I think we're in. We're not a city that's going to maintain and have an ongoing flow of cash to maintain the flow.
And that's my initial thought as well, was how are we making sure, if we're not running these, how are we making sure they're getting inspected, maintained like they should be, so they're
And when they
not.
fail, who gets them?
When HOA becomes financially insolvent, who's on the hook for the ongoing
Correct.
maintenance?
Correct.
Mayor, I don't think it was anyone's suggestion that the town ever buy, purchase, build, maintain one of these. I think it was an attempt to get a little bit smarter about technology, given our sewer situation, and be a little bit better able to answer a developer who might have one as a companion to their development. I'm not feeling the need to do much on this right now, by the way, and it's something that we can certainly talk about in our council budget retreat next year.
Really, the ultimate reason under that, that's a great segue.
Got one question.
Mayor Pro Tem Richardson, is ultimately the idea, at least when this plan was developed, was to have basically a statement that the board would, a position for the town of Stallings to take on whether you want to entertain package plants, things like that moving forward. So the idea behind it was just that, to give you all the information so that y'all can make a position, really.
Can I ask one quick question here?
Again,
Yeah.
those are oxymorons.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's, is there multiple brands of these, if you will? I mean, difference between a Ford and a Toyota kind of scenario?
I'm sure there's different suppliers of materials. For instance, in these MBR facilities, they have the filters, the membrane filters. There's different suppliers of those. And I'm sure there's different, I'm not totally sure, but I would assume so. I know this gentleman mentioned that they get their filters from Veolia, who used to be GE. So I believe there's a market for it. I just don't know the full extent of that.
Okay. I was just curious if there was good or bad
Right.
kind of brand names or so. That's all.
Alex, how much is in the budget to do this? You mentioned that we were gonna, third-party evaluation of this subject.
$25,000, sir.
Sitting in our already allocated?
Yes, sir.
Are you asking for a action on that, or will that be a future item?
Right now, we're in a holding pattern, so if you'd like for us to do that, would ask for that direction.
What exactly would you be doing?
Yeah, so what we would do is we would likely do an RFP, a request for proposals, right? And have an engineering firm go out and do a study of what are the various types of package plant technology that's out there. Do some sort of report of the pros and cons of each and answer a lot of the big questions, right? That we probably all have. Does it smell? What does it smell like? What kind of issues? Is the technology reliable? What are some of the issues that we have, whether it be an HOA, failing to maintain it properly? And just doing kind of like a high-level analysis of all the FAQs when it comes to this. That's our vision, at least my vision, by putting it in the budget to try to kind of support you all. Yes, sir.
So realistically, what would you expect to learn that you did not learn with your conversation with Traverse City?
Just probably more detailed, right? I don't, some of the questions that you have all asked, we heard the answer from Kevin. I suspect those being pretty solid, but it probably would answer some of the questions like what are the best brands? What do you have to look out for? How often do these things fail with an HOA?
The conversation with Traverse City didn't cost anything?
No, sir.
You learned $25,000 worth of new information?
Listen, if you go to one of these engineering firms and tell them you've got a budget for $25,000, you can do it. You know what the pros is going to be. It's be for $24,999. So that's why I'm sorry, Mr. Cousins. Go ahead.
No, please finish.
I was going to say that's why we bring it up is because I think we're on the fence as to whether to do that and whether it's a good use. I do think it would bring value if you want to adopt a position, but in talking with them, there's definitely pros. It sounds like the technology's improved, but I think if things are stinking and somebody says, well, this smells like sewage, what's going on? It's like, oh, that's not sewage, it's a rotting stump, right? Like, they can be like, well, thanks, it's still, my house still smells, right? So, to me, that was the biggest thing. That was my biggest concern was the odor, because that's just some of the issues that I've seen professionally in my experiences when it comes to package plants. I'm sorry, sir.
I think that item A4 here gets a lot more credence behind it if we follow through on A3 with using that money for the study, because if we have another proposal like a Crestwood come to us and they say, well, here's what we have, we're not saying we do or don't like this because ... We can say because here's the study that we've commissioned and here's why we believe that to be true.
Yeah. So to summarize that, Mr. Cousins.
I'm in favor of moving forward with the study.
Okay.
I got an alternative on that. How about if, is it possible to, we have fees for applications of various things. Is it possible we can have a $25,000 fee for us to have that study paid for by an applicant when it happens, since how the technology will change year after year after year. So it may not happen for 2 or 3 years before we have a project like that. Can we have a fee that says, listen, this is beyond us, we need an engineering, and you're gonna help us pay for that?
Yeah, I mean, philosophically, it makes sense. I guess legally, Melanie, I'm looking at you and putting you on the spot. If you don't know, that's okay. We can research it.
Yeah,
But
we'd want to research that and make sure.
a large
it's-
fee.
Right.
It's a very large
linked
fee.
to the actual cost and that we have that process and procedure and policy in place before it even happens.
Don't they pay for our TIAs?
That's what I'm saying, parallel to a TIA process.
Yeah, I mean, 100%, like philosophically, there's a way to do it. Again, the question is probably just legally, can we do it? You bring up a good point, that there's a parallel
The
process.
developer would be paying the 25,000, then they have to pay for this company or somebody to put this in place, third party to put this in place in their development. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. There's probably a variety of ways you could do it. Sometimes the developer owns, sometimes commonly you'll see them turn it under an HOA. Sometimes it's a private utility. So there's probably several different ways you could do it. I remember the one we saw, I believe, with Crestwinds. And I do want to say, I heard some assertions that there was, when it comes to the Crestwinds development, that this is lingering, it's going to get submitted. We haven't heard anything from Crestwinds in quite a long time, to my knowledge. So all this conversation, it's not because of Crestwinds, it's because of generally the sewer capacity issue in the county, and we as a town are trying to figure out generally how to move forward and make good decisions for our community when it comes to package plants. I wanted to say
But there was once a hotel that was thinking about coming to, down here at 74. And, I mean, did y'all discuss at all if the technology, not the technology, but kind of the maintenance cost or depending on the size? Because that was supposed to be, I mean, they talked about one there. I would suspect that that would be a very small system versus even what we heard from the Crestwinds project. I mean,
it probably would be. I'm going to answer it, and then I'm going to let
Okay.
Mr. Parker come in and clean up. Even though it would be a small system, these are still mini sewer plants, right? And mini sewer plants basically take the dirty water and turn it into clean water, put it back in the creek or whatever the source is. So I think it'd be difficult to take it and put it back in. You've got to have some space to put these things in, I guess is what I'm saying.
Okay.
And so it may be a struggle to put it in an urban area based on what I've seen with the technology. But again, I'm not an expert. That's why we're looking at doing a study.
Do we have enough acres on any parcels left to even think about this? Doesn't seem like we have but 2 or 3 large parcels that could accommodate a development and sewer. So we're almost to the end of big parcels availability.
My question would also be, if we were going to move forward with this, that it would not necessarily just talk about package plants, but is there other technologies available for handling small scope sewage problems? I mean, like, is there something as simple as a retainment that gets picked up twice a week or something like that there? I just don't want to limit us to a specific solution to the overall problem, right? I mean, the problem is that we have no sewer capacity in Union County. Maybe this is not the only solution that's available to us. Maybe there's other alternatives. I mean, a hotel, something the size of a hotel or a small shopping center, that sounds like it might be doable with a trucked-in solution versus actually
Septic tank is that
a large-scale septic tank with, so maybe that's a different solution set that would be open to us. I don't know. Us being that close to a large metro area, I would think that we have the capability of trucking sewage out. I don't know. That would be my only thing, is it's not limited to package plants, that we look at other potential opportunities there.
I'll remind the council that we've got a council budget strategy retreat in a couple of weeks. One idea would be just to move this to a discussion, because we'll be working through this, I believe, in the context of that. I've heard Mike say he's in favor of spending it for the benefits you'd get out of it. John, I think, was like, let's do more calls to places like get some free. So I would just recommend we move that to our council budget or strategy planning. Is that okay? It's kind of tough to talk sewage at 8 o'clock on a Monday night, personally.
Is everybody comfortable with that approach?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem, for your leadership there. All right, let me just make a quick note here. All right. Next item is supporting and enhancing Union West Business Park. So there are several action items here. So first, wanted to task the ED committee with continuing to monitor and identify improvement opportunities. I know they've been engaged, and at the appropriate time in the future, explore funding mechanisms for the Union West Business Park, supporting enhancements. Back in July, we put on the agenda for the council to discuss strategy for approaching NC General Assembly members regarding seeing if there's any potential state support regarding repairing the roads in the Union West Business Park. And then we've also engaged with the Union County Economic Development Team on a variety of issues, retail recruitment, and partnered with their retail recruitment firm, Retail Strategies, which has a contract with Union County for all municipalities to take advantage of their services. And we've engaged them, we've plugged them in with our developers, and coming up in the near future, there'll be a ride-along tour with the ED group, just to show them around town and make sure they're seeing everything and are aware of opportunities like we are. And Mayor Pro Tem, is there anything else y'all wanted to add on the ED side of things, or Economic Development Committee members?
No.
Okay.
Did the conversation happen with the General Assembly members?
Not yet.
All right, so the next action item, or excuse me, the next goal was implementing adaptive plans and studies, not dependent on sewer capacity. And during budget time, we presented various projects to the council for y'all's consideration. Some were approved, some weren't, just like during any budget time. And then pursuing town center creation. So we had a letdown when the Armored Cow pulled out and opted not to move forward with the lease, but our broker is actively marketing the property. We presented information on available listed land, and also at the same time, we haven't had any proposed developments to have DFI evaluate them within the town center. DFI, Councilmember Cousins, Councilmember Vanderreet, was a UNC school government group that we had come in and evaluate this area like a developer would, to see, all right, what do we need to do? And long story short, what it found is that several things. It found that there are not enough bedrooms in the immediate area to support kind of what we want. So they talked about various public-private partnerships, and ultimately for the town to put in to make it a lot, I think it was somewhere between $7, $8, $9 million. You have to build a parking deck up here, things like that. So it'd be a really big swing. But we realized we couldn't invest that. The board realized we couldn't invest that money with the sewer capacity, right? Because the worst case scenario, you invest all that money and you can't build it, right? And then that's how bad things happen financially. So doing something next door, this is kind of a short, medium-term approach to kind of making sure our town center continues to move forward while sewer capacity isn't there. All right, and then finally, we set a goal for 11 park events. That doesn't include programming, but big kind of events. We had 13. We had a couple extra this year because of our 50th anniversary. So thank you to our parks team for all their work on that. And then finally, maximizing positive development around the hospital and the light rail. Light rail plans with the recent past year or two, that's taken a hit. Some things that are out of control with the General Assembly. And the Silver Line is probably more challenging than it was maybe several years ago. But we have presented some small area plans and a comprehensive land use plans updates to try to create a TOD district around that area and try to support maximizing the positive kind of economic development around the hospital, around what we hope one day will be the light rail coming in. And Mr. Shong and his team have done a great job working with that. Long story short, the TOD district, it's on hold because of some General Assembly legislation issues. And
we know where they are on that?
We haven't heard any updates on that from the General Assembly. Mr. Shong, we talked a couple weeks ago, but have you heard anything since then? Okay. Yeah, so, nothing's happening there. We're hoping that they'll eventually move it because without getting into the super details, because this is probably a 20-minute conversation, what the changes they made have caused issues for everybody across the state, so we're still hopeful they'll address it.
And have we reached out to our representatives specifically and let them know?
Not in the past several months. Not in the past several months. So maybe when we reach out for the ED purposes, that might be a useful one to mention at the same time. All right, and then miscellaneous, we just wanted to get a handle on, all right, what are all the area DOT projects? And back in August, the DOT came in and presented it to the board. And that concludes my presentation. Any questions or comments? Thanks for your patience. I know, again, we're talking sewer and et cetera at 8-something at night, so. Okay, thank you, appreciate your time. And thank you to everyone in the staff's work for all these priorities. I appreciate everything.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alex. That brings us to closed session pursuant to NCGS 143.318.11A3.
I move we,
Yes.
I move that we move into closed session pursuant to NCGS 143.318.11A3, and that we invite Chief Franks and Eunice Donnelly into the closed session.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Thank you. We'll move into closed session, and we'll stay here to this time.
Oh, we're going to stay here.